This time, things will be different, V. I promise, Tyler says, his voice breaking over the phone. I know I screwed up. But this new investor, he's talking 7 figures if we can relaunch with the original concept. Your concept? I stare out the window of my apartment in Tacoma, watching the late afternoon sunlight dance across Commencement Bay. The same view I've had for 3 years, since I rebuilt my life from scratch after my brother stole everything. You already spent your chance, I say, surprised by how calm I sound. And my name is Vanessa. Come on, don't be like that. I end the call and block his number. Again. 3rd new number this month. My phone immediately pings with a text from a different number.
Please, V. I'm desperate.
You know I wouldn't ask if there was any other way. Just coffee. 15 minutes. For mom's sake. For mom's sake. That's rich, coming from the guy who nearly gave her a heart attack when the FBI showed up at her door looking for him last year. I toss my phone onto the couch and walk to the kitchen. My small but immaculate apartment isn't much, but it's mine, paid for with honest work and careful planning. The framed business license on my wall, Lighthouse Analytics, LLC, catches the light as I pass. My legitimate business, built from the ashes of the one Tyler stole. I pour myself a glass of Pinot Noir from a bottle I've been saving, a small splurge to celebrate landing Wilson Credit Union as a client yesterday. 3 years ago, I couldn't afford groceries. Now I'm slowly, steadily building something real. The phone buzzes again. Another text. I know you're reading these.
Please, V.
I wouldn't ask if I had anyone else to turn to. That's the thing about Tyler. He's always had people to turn to, friends, girlfriends, investors charmed by his $1 million smile and big promises. The only time he turns to me is when he needs something I have that he doesn't. Like my ideas. My work. My brain. 2 years and 8 months ago, I made the mistake of trusting my twin brother with my startup idea. We were celebrating my MBA graduation at my apartment in Portland. I'd spent 2 years developing my thesis, an AI-powered personal finance platform that could predict market fluctuations for small investors. Not just another robo-advisor, but something that could level the playing field for regular people. It's brilliant, V, Tyler had said, swiping through my presentation mock-ups. You're gonna be the next female tech billionaire. My brother had always been the charming one. The one who could talk his way into or out of anything. Growing up in Spokane, he was the high school quarterback who never had to study. I was the quiet nerd who graduated valedictorian through sheer determination. I just need seed funding, I said. I've got meetings with 3 angel investors next month. Tyler topped off my wine glass. You know, I'm having dinner with Jordan Wyatt tomorrow. I nearly choked. Jordan Wyatt was a tech venture capitalist known for turning startups into unicorns. How do you know Jordan Wyatt? Tyler grinned. We play racquetball at the same club. He owes me a favor after I introduced him to his current girlfriend. Let me show him your pitch deck. I hesitated. Tyler had always been impulsive, with a string of failed get-rich-quick schemes behind him. But he was my twin. We'd shared everything since the womb. This is important to me, Ty. Promise you'll be professional. When am I not professional? He looked offended, hand over his heart. I believe in you, V. Always have. I should have known better. I really should have. 2 weeks later, I couldn't reach Tyler. His phone went straight to voicemail. He wasn't responding to texts. Our mom hadn't heard from him either, which wasn't unusual. He only called when he needed money. Then I saw the TechCrunch headline. Thin Forecast secures $5 million seed round led by Wyatt Ventures. The accompanying photo showed Tyler, grinning in a blazer that probably cost more than my rent, shaking hands with Jordan Wyatt. The article described him as a financial wunderkind with a revolutionary approach to predictive market analytics for retail investors. My approach. My algorithms. My life's work. He'd taken my pitch deck, put his name on it, and gotten funded in less than 14 days. I couldn't breathe when I saw that article. Literally couldn't pull air into my lungs. The betrayal was so absolute, so brazen, that it felt like someone had reached into my chest and squeezed my heart until it burst. I called him 27 times that day. Sent countless texts. Emails. Even reached out to his girlfriend at the time, a yoga instructor named Amber, who'd always been nice to me. Nothing. Radio silence. I drove to his apartment in the Pearl District, but he'd already moved out. The building manager told me he'd terminated his lease early, paid the penalty fee in cash, and left no forwarding address. It took me 3 more days to track him down. 3 days of barely eating, barely sleeping, just hunting through social media and calling mutual friends until I found him. When I finally confronted him, it was at a launch party I crashed. The look on his face when he saw me, shock, then a flash of guilt, quickly replaced by cold calculation. "Vanessa, you made it," he said loudly, pulling me into a hug. "Everyone, this is my twin sister, the inspiration behind FinForecast." Inspiration. I hissed in his ear. "Let's talk outside," he whispered back. In the alley behind the trendy Pearl District venue, Tyler offered me a senior analyst position. Not co-founder. Not even C-suite.
A job.
In my own company. "Be reasonable, V," he said when I refused. "I'm the one who got the funding. I'm the one taking all the risk." By stealing my work. He had the audacity to look wounded. I didn't steal anything. Ideas are worthless without execution. I'm the one executing. With my algorithms. My code. Which, technically, you showed me voluntarily. He straightened his tie. "Look, I did you a favor. You're too cautious, too academic. You would have spent years perfecting every detail. I got it to market. With my name nowhere on it. I never claimed I wrote the algorithms. I'm the face, you're the brains. That's how business works." He pulled out his wallet and handed me a check.
Here.
Consider it a consulting fee.
$52,000.
4 years of research and development. For my literal intellectual property. I tore it in half. I'm going to make sure everyone knows the truth. Tyler laughed. "Go ahead. It's your word against mine, and I got Jordan Wyatt on my side. No one backs a sore loser, V." I walked away that night with nothing but rage and the clothes on my back. Within a week, I'd hired a lawyer I couldn't afford. Within a month, I'd learned how little protection I actually had without proper documentation or patents filed. Tyler had moved fast for a reason. He'd known exactly what he was doing. The next 6 months were the darkest of my life. I lost my apartment because I couldn't make rent. I moved in with a college friend temporarily, sleeping on her couch while I tried to pick up freelance data science work. I defaulted on my student loans. My credit score tanked. Meanwhile, Tyler was everywhere: tech conferences, podcast interviews, magazine features. The financial media couldn't get enough of him and his revolutionary platform. "I've always been passionate about democratizing finance," he told Bloomberg, as if he'd spent years developing this concept instead of stealing it over a glass of wine. I watched him take my work and twist it, dilute it, rush it to market before it was ready. I saw corners being cut in the implementation, algorithms being simplified because he didn't fully understand them. I tried to warn people. I sent emails to tech journalists explaining what had happened. One actually responded, seemed interested, asked for proof, which I didn't have because I'd been too trusting to document everything properly. "Without evidence, this is just a disgruntled sibling story," the journalist eventually told me. And frankly, it's not an uncommon one in Silicon Valley. "Unless you have smoking gun proof, we can't run this." My lawyer eventually stopped taking my calls after I ran out of money to pay him. My friend gently suggested I should move on after I'd been on her couch for 4 months. I felt like I was drowning, watching my life's work make someone else rich, while I could barely afford ramen. Then my college advisor for my MBA program reached out. Dr. Layton had always believed in me, had mentored me through the development of my algorithms. "I know what happened, Vanessa," she said over coffee. "And I'm sorry I couldn't stop it. But you're more than one idea. Your brilliance and persistence in human form." She offered me a job teaching a night class on financial analytics at Portland State while I got back on my feet. It wasn't much, but it was enough to rent a tiny studio apartment and start rebuilding. 8 months after the launch, FinForecast hit a valuation of $50 million. I watched from the sidelines as my brother became the golden boy of fintech. the charismatic CEO with the visionary algorithm. He moved to Seattle, bought a lakefront mansion, drove a custom Tesla. I moved to Tacoma, took a data analyst job at an insurance company, and started rebuilding my life one brick at a time. No shortcuts, no handouts. During the day, I analyzed risk patterns for the insurance company. At night, I refined my original algorithms, making them better, more accurate, more robust. This time, I documented everything meticulously. This time, I filed the provisional patents myself, eating ramen for a month to afford the fees. I was working late one night when my phone rang. My mother. She was crying. "The FBI is here, Vanessa. They're asking about Tyler." Turns out my brother had cut corners in more ways than one. In his rush to scale, he'd implemented my algorithms incorrectly. The predictions FinForecast was making weren't just wrong. They were dangerously wrong, steering thousands of small investors into high-risk positions while the platform falsely assured them of safety. When the market took a downturn, people lost everything. Retirement accounts, college funds, life savings. And that wasn't the worst part. Tyler had known about the flaws for months. Internal emails proved he'd been warned by his engineers but pressed forward anyway, even manipulating some of the data to hide the problems while he and his executive team quietly moved their own investments elsewhere. Securities fraud. White fraud. A class action lawsuit from over 12,000 users. FinForecast collapsed practically overnight. The venture capital dried up. The valuation plummeted to zero. The fancy Seattle office emptied out. I testified, of course. Showed investigators my original research, explained where the implementation had gone wrong. Made it clear that the algorithms, properly used, would have worked as intended. I didn't do it to help Tyler. I did it because I couldn't stand seeing my work, good work that could have helped people, being destroyed by his incompetence and greed. Tyler managed to avoid prison by cooperating with authorities, but he lost everything. The mansion, the car, his reputation. The settlement wiped him out completely. I felt no satisfaction, only a dull ache for what might have been if he'd just been honest from the start. After the dust settled, I launched Lighthouse Analytics. Small, focused, ethical. Instead of promising to make people rich quick, we help them understand their finances and make informed decisions. We're growing slowly, but steadily. I started with just myself and a laptop in my apartment, taking on small clients who needed financial data analysis. Credit unions. Small investment advisors. A few local businesses.
No venture capital. No splashy launches.
Just good work that spoke for itself and clients who referred others. 18 months in, I hired my first employee, Rebecca, a recent graduate with a sharp mind and a strong work ethic. 6 months after that, we moved into a real office space in downtown Tacoma. Nothing fancy, just a converted warehouse with exposed brick and good natural light. We're up to 5 employees now. We're profitable. We're making a difference for our clients. I haven't spoken to Tyler in over a year. Last I heard, he was couch surfing between friends, trying to pitch a comeback story to anyone who would listen. Which brings me back to today, and this text message begging for 15 minutes of my time. I stare at my phone, at that manipulative plea. For Mom's sake. Mom, who cried for weeks when she realized what Tyler had done, both to me and to those investors. Mom, who still loves him because he's her son, but who told me she's proud of how I rebuilt my life the right way. Against my better judgment, I text back, Anthem Coffee on Pacific. Tomorrow at 2. You get 10 minutes. Tyler looks terrible. His designer clothes have been replaced by a plain gray sweater that's seen better days. The confident swagger is gone, replaced by nervousness as he slides into the booth across from me. Thanks for coming, he says, dark circles under his eyes. I wasn't sure you would. 7 minutes left, I say, looking at my watch. He winces. Okay, I deserve that. Look, I'll cut to the chase. I've got an opportunity to redeem myself. Jordan Wyatt is willing to back a new venture. I raise an eyebrow. Jordan Wyatt? The same guy who lost millions on your last disaster? He knows it wasn't the concept that failed, it was the execution. Tyler looks down. He also knows whose idea, It really was. And he wants both of us this time. A real partnership. Co-founders. Equal equity. Tyler leans forward. This is a second chance, V. For both of us. A second chance for you. I correct him. I don't need one. My business is doing fine.
Fine?
That little consulting shop. He can't hide the dismissiveness in his tone. We're talking about millions here. Your algorithms, my connections, why it's money. We could build something massive. I sip my coffee. I've seen your version of massive. People lost their life savings. He has the grace to look ashamed. That won't happen again. I've learned my lesson. Have you? I ask quietly.
Yes.
I hit rock bottom, V. I lost everything. So did I, twice actually. Once when my brother stole my work, and again when he destroyed its reputation. Tyler runs a hand through his hair, which is longer now, less perfectly styled. I know I hurt you. I know I can't undo that. But this is a chance to do it right, the way you would have done it. Then why do you need me? You've got my algorithms. Because they don't work without you. He looks frustrated. I tried, okay? I tried to replicate your updates, your improvements. I couldn't do it. No one could. You're the only one who truly understands how to make it work. For the first time in our conversation, I feel a flicker of satisfaction. He finally admits what I've always known. He needs me far more than I ever needed him. 3 minutes left, I say. Tyler reaches into his messenger bag and pulls out a folder. Here's the term sheet Wyatt proposed. Look at the equity split. It's fair, more than fair. And look at the clause on intellectual property rights. I scan the document. It is generous. More than generous. My name prominently featured as co-founder and chief technology officer. Full credit for the algorithms. A salary that would triple what I make now. This time, things will be different, Tyler says, leaning forward, that familiar earnestness in his eyes. I promise. I've changed. I close the folder and slide it back to him. You already spent your chance, I say. His face falls. What? My answer is no. But why? This is what you wanted. Recognition. Resources. A platform for your work. It was what I wanted. I correct him. 2 years ago. Before I learned what it cost. What are you talking about? There's no cost here. It's all upside. There's always a cost to working with someone who's betrayed you once already. I'm your brother, V. And that's exactly why it hurts so much. I stand up, gathering my coat and bag. The thing is, Tyler, I like my life now. I built something honest. Something sustainable. My clients trust me because I've earned that trust. But you could do so much more, he insists. I'm already doing what matters to me. I put on my coat. Besides, how do I know this isn't just history repeating itself? Another desperate move, because you've run out of options? It's not like that, he says, but his eyes shift away from mine. If Jordan Wyatt really believes in this, he can invest in Lighthouse Analytics directly. I'm open to scaling my business the right way, with the right partners. You're just not one of them. Tyler's jaw tightens. This is the opportunity of a lifetime. You're making a huge mistake. I laugh, genuinely amused by his audacity.
No, Tyler.
The mistake was trusting you the first time. I don't make the same mistakes twice. I turn to leave, then pause. Give Mom my love. Tell her I'll call her this weekend. As I walk out into the rainy Tacoma afternoon, I feel lighter than I have in years. Back in my car, my phone buzzes with a text. You're making a mistake. Family should come first. I don't bother responding. Instead, I call my assistant at Lighthouse. Hey, Rebecca. Remember that expansion plan we discussed? Let's move forward with it. And set up a meeting with the legal team. I want to revisit our patent applications. As I drive back to my office, I pass the waterfront where cargo ships dock, loading and unloading, steady and methodical.
No shortcuts.
Just honest work, one container at a time. 3 weeks later, I'm reviewing the quarterly numbers with my team when Rebecca pokes her head into the conference room. Sorry to interrupt, but there's someone here to see you. Jordan Wyatt. The room goes silent. Everyone at Lighthouse knows my history, knows what happened with FinForecast. Tell him I'm in a meeting, I say. He says he'll wait as long as it takes, Rebecca replies. And he brought coffee for everyone.
I sigh.
Give us 15 minutes to wrap up, then send him in. When Wyatt enters, he's not what I expected. Older than I imagined, with salt and pepper hair and laugh lines around his eyes. He's dressed casually, jeans, a button-down, no tie. Ms. Harmon, he says, extending his hand. Thank you for seeing me. I've been hoping to meet you for a long time. Really? I assumed we met at your launch party for FinForecast. I was the uninvited guest being escorted out by security. He winces. I wasn't actually there that night. I was in Singapore, closing another deal. Tyler assured me you were on board as a consultant. And you believed him? I had no reason not to at the time. He sits when I gesture to a chair. Look, I'm not here to make excuses. I screwed up by not doing my due diligence on your brother. I should have insisted on meeting you personally before investing. Why are you here, Mr. Wyatt? I spoke with Tyler a few weeks ago. He mentioned you turned down our proposal. Your proposal? So, it was your idea, not his. Wyatt nods. I approached him after reviewing the case materials from the SEC investigation. Your testimony was illuminating. You could have buried your brother, but instead, you focused on the algorithms themselves, on what they were meant to do. I shrug. I didn't see the point in kicking someone who is already down. That's unusually gracious, given the circumstances. He looks around my office. You've built something impressive here. From scratch. Did Tyler send you? No, Wyatt says firmly. He doesn't know I'm here. In fact, he'd probably be furious if he found out. He still thinks he can convince you to work with him again. Then why are you here? Wyatt pulls out a business card, slides it across the desk. I'm here because I want to invest in Lighthouse Analytics. No strings attached. No Tyler involved. Just you, your team, and the resources to scale what you've built. I pick up the card, turn it over in my fingers. Why should I trust you? You backed Tyler. I did, and it was a costly mistake. One I'd like to correct by backing the right person this time. He leans forward. I've done my homework on you, Ms. Harmon. Talk to your clients. They speak very highly of your integrity, your attention to detail, your commitment to ethical practices. Those aren't exactly qualities venture capitalists usually get excited about. He smiles. Maybe that's the problem with venture capital these days. Too focused on flash, not enough on fundamentals. He stands. Take your time to think about it. My contact information is on the card. If you're interested, I'd like to discuss terms that work for you. As he reaches the door, I call after him. Mr. Wyatt? What about my brother? Wyatt turns. What about him? Aren't you still working with him on a relaunch? I told Tyler I'd consider a new venture if he could get you on board. He couldn't. So no, we're not working together. He pauses. For what it's worth, I think he does regret what he did to you. But regret isn't the same as change. After Wyatt leaves, I sit at my desk for a long time, turning his card over in my fingers. My phone buzzes with a text from yet another new number. Did you meet with Wyatt? He's not telling me anything.
Call me V. We can still make this work.
I delete the message without responding. That night, I draft an email to Jordan Wyatt outlining my terms. Lighthouse stays independent. We take funding only for specific expansion initiatives, not general operating costs.
My team stays intact.
My algorithms remain under my control. His response comes within the hour. Reasonable terms. Let's discuss details over dinner next week. I forward the email to my lawyer with a note. Thoughts? Not making the same mistake twice. As I shut down my laptop for the night, I feel a strange sense of closure. 3 years ago, Tyler took my ideas and ran with them, leaving me behind. Today, I'm the one moving forward while he's stuck in the past, still trying to reclaim what he lost. My phone buzzes one last time before I go to bed. This time, things will be different. I promise. I don't bother blocking this new number. I don't need to. His words have no power over me anymore. You're right about one thing, I say to the empty room. Things are different. I'm different. I delete the message and turn out the light, ready to build the next phase of my life, on my terms, not his.